and welcome to the City Annual Update for 2024. I'm Peter Katz, CEO of the Chamber of Commerce and your host for the morning, and we are proud to join the city in presenting today's program. You know, it's funny because every year people ask me, are you excited about this event? Of course I'm excited about this event. It's the second day of spring, it's a new beginning, and most importantly, it's kind of like old home week for most of the people here in the room. And I just love the fact that you all are mixing and mingling and getting to see each other and all of that, because that is what we do. Our theme this year is the Mountain View of tomorrow. And businesses, large and small, tech and non-tech, continue to keep the eyes of the world focused on our latest ideas, products, and processes. Our presenting sponsors, Google and Intuit, have been envisioning tomorrow for years. Let's take a look at their latest innovations as we thank them for their exceptional support.
For many people with blindness or low vision, there hasn't always been an easy way to capture daily life.
One face cropped. Move your phone down. One face in frame. Hold for photo.
Dinner for one. Hello.
One face and one pet in frame.
Look who's here.
Two faces in frame.
Happy birthday.
Two faces.
Good morning.
Two faces.
Believe that.
First day in the new place.
Two faces. Two faces.
Getting that one.
Two faces in frame. Three faces in frame. Hold for photo.
Capture life, no matter how you experience it. Guided frame, only on Google Pixel.
All right, well, let's get into it, huh? We are extremely grateful to Mark and his team here at the Hyatt Centric for once again hosting our festivities. What a lovely, lovely environment here. And I was in the lobby today and someone said, I shop at Trader Joe's all the time and I didn't even know the Hyatt Centric exists, so we are delighted to bring you all here. Come back. We also want to thank KMVT for their outstanding audiovisual support and for taping the event so that those not in attendance can enjoy the proceedings online. Thank you, gentlemen. And thank you to our media sponsors. Thank you to our media sponsor, the Mountain View Voice. We're delighted to have their team in the house to cover the event. And our sincere thanks to our signature sponsors, without whom today's event would not be possible. These local businesses demonstrate Mountain View's leadership in a diverse array of industries. So please, thank you to Aurora, El Camino Health, Graystar, the Jeffrey A. Morris Group, LinkedIn, MGO, Neuro, PG&E, Presidio Bay Ventures, Recology, Stanford Medicine Children's Health, Valley Water, and the Village at San Antonio. But wait, let's see some examples of some of their recent activities happening right here.
Welcome to Mountain View City Annual Update. El Camino Health is proud to once again be the signature sponsor to this event. We opened our doors more than 60 years ago as a community hospital, and we're proud to call Mountain View our home. Since 1961, El Camino Health has served as a healthcare partner of choice for this community that founded and funded it.
Our doctors, nurses, and clinical staff have earned national recognition for their expertise while delivering the highest quality results for the people in Mountain View and throughout our community.
By combining exceptional results with the warmth and compassion of a community-based hospital, El Camino Health is well poised to meet the future and keep helping you live your best life. We thank the Mountain View Chamber of Commerce for their ongoing partnership, and we hope everyone enjoys the event.
Hello, my name is Mark Leardini, and I'm a partner with MGO here in Mountain View. Our team has been serving clients here in the community for over 40 years for individuals and businesses, including those that are looking to go public. We've always enjoyed being a member of the Mountain View Chamber. Should you be interested in how we can serve you as an individual or your business needs, please reach out to me or one of my partners. Thank you.
At PG&E, we're adding more safe and affordable renewable energy every day. We're deploying new technologies that will allow electric vehicles to power homes, which helps customers save more money by capturing low-cost energy. And we're working on new ways to store power so that this safe, clean, and low-cost energy is available around the clock. In fact, we've got one of the world's biggest battery storage plants right here in our backyard. Explore the future with us at pge.com/innovation.
Hi, I'm Sydney.
Hi, I'm Tom.
And we both work right here at Aurora, where our mission is to deliver the benefits of self-driving technology safely, quickly, and broadly. And we look forward to a day in the future when right here in California, our autonomous trucks can make our roads safer and freight movement more efficient.
In the meantime, you can find our trucks running between Dallas and Houston and working with partners such as FedEx. We are working quickly towards commercial launch.
On behalf of Aurora, a huge thank you to our city and community leaders, public safety, and elected officials who not only make our roads safer, but make Mountain View a wonderful place to live and work.
Thank
you.
you.
You can count on Valley Water to provide Santa Clara County with safe, clean water, natural flood protection, and environmental stewardship. We maintain our creeks and invest in infrastructure, including our dams, pipelines, and water treatment plants. Flood protection projects are moving forward to protect you and your family. We care for our environment and all native species that call it home. We're looking to the future and planning for a changing climate and more frequent droughts. Valley Water works for you. We're water people. Learn more at valleywater.org.
Where should Tina's apple core go? If she throws it in the green bin, it makes a huge difference. Unlike landfills, composting significantly reduces greenhouse gas emissions. It puts nutrients back into the food we eat, so things like apples are more nutritious. If we want a world without waste, that's within our grasp, but we must make composting part of our routine.
There are some things children shouldn't have access to, like the password to your shopping app, permanent markers, or grandma's china. Every kid, however, should have access to exceptional health care. That's why Stanford Medicine Children's Health has 65 convenient locations across the Bay Area, plus virtual visits, and even after-hours virtual visits. Because while there are certain things you want to keep out of reach, great health care isn't one of them. Stanford Medicine Children's Health. Access to excellence.
Well, I think as you've seen, from healthcare to tech to sustainability, our businesses are serving the community and really show how Mountain View is shaping tomorrow right here and right now. We also note that it's people who make all of this work, and we want to give a shout out to many of the amazing groups and individuals joining us today. I want to start with our elected officials. We are so honored and pleased to have in our audience Supervisor Joe Simidian. From Congresswoman Anna Eshoo's office, Nicholas Hargis. From Senator Josh Becker's office, Alex Kobayashi. And from Assemblymember Mark Berman's office, Elise Lester. We, of course, welcome our City Council. Our speaker for a little bit later, Mayor Pat Showalter. Vice Mayor Lisa Matichak. Margaret Abakoga. There she is. Councilmember Allison Hicks. Councilmember Lucas Ramirez. And Councilmember Emily Ann Ramos. We also welcome our city manager and speaker for this morning, Kimbra McCarthy, and the city's executive team. Could the team please stand and wave? I'm always impressed when that happens because this is how our city works. And part of the reason that we do events like that is for you to see the people behind all the good works and good actions that happen. So thank you to the city. We also want to recognize from the El Camino Healthcare District, Vice Chair Dr. Carol Summerhill, Secretary and Treasurer John Zoglin, Board Member Julia Miller, and star of stage and screen, as well as the El Camino Health CEO, Dan Woods. From the Mountain View Wisman School Board, President Devin Conley, Clerk Laura Blakely, and Trustee Bill Lambert. From the Los Altos School District, we have President Brian Johnson and Trustee Jessica Spicer. From the Mountain View Los Altos High School District, Clerk Theta Corns. Trustee Catherine Vonnegut. And Superintendent Dr. Nellie Meyer. Let's not forget, we have two community colleges as well, Foothill and De Anza. Please welcome Trustee Laura Casas and Foothill President Christina Whalen. Finally, I want to recognize those who directly support our day-to-day operations. Members of the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors are scattered around the room. Could you please stand and wave? I just want to point out that our Board of Directors really is a mix and cross-section of our city, and each and every one of them contribute in unique and wonderful ways and are so dedicated to making this the best place to work, live, and play. We also do a number of events that would not be possible without our ambassadors and our volunteers, many of whom are with us today and many of whom are out front working. So let's give a big applause to our ambassadors and volunteers. And finally, a big thank you to our team, Marisol Malara, Priscilla Hernandez, Jesse Cupp, and Brian Kaczynski. Thank you all. At the Chamber, as you know, we are proud to host today's update as well as fuel our local economy through information and training, professional networking, government advocacy, public forums, economic development, and of course, events like these. We also do community building programs. And each of you on your table will see a placard. And on that placard are 3 special events coming up right away. One is Scholarship Mountain View. Scholarship Mountain View, we give up to somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000 every year to deserving high school students in the districts that we mentioned. And the important thing about this scholarship is that it is money free and clear for the students to use. That is that some scholarships say you must use it for tuition. We understand that 80% of students don't go on to college because of other factors, like housing, like childcare, and so on. So these funds can be used in any way, shape, or form. We also appreciate the fact that there is all sorts of education, and all of it is valuable to heading into your career. So this money can be used for a 4-year college, a 2-year college, a trade school, however you want to increase your education. So again, I encourage you to scan the QR codes, donate generously to help this amazing, worthy cause. The next program I want to mention is Leadership Mountain View. Now, I just want to see a show of hands. How many of you are graduates of Leadership Mountain View? What you've seen with those raised hands are city council members, CEOs, members of the general public, the lifeblood of this city. And so LMV is important not just because you get to visit the city hall, places of business, our nonprofits, et cetera, and see what makes things tick, but you get to build it with a cohort of just amazing people that you stay together forever. We are taking applications now. Again, scan that QR code.
Whether you're a sole proprietor or an international corporation, Mountain View is the perfect place to do business. A vibrant center of innovation and creativity, a highly active and engaged community, and a welcoming culture of worldwide diversity, all nestled in a gorgeous, family-friendly setting on the San Francisco Bay. The Chamber is committed to your growth and success. For small businesses, we have a wide range of tools and resources that help with promoting your brand and attracting customers. We provide unique opportunities for everyone to connect with the community, be it special events and festivals, or customized engagement programs. We also serve as the voice of business, advocating strongly on your behalf as well as providing direct access to key influencers and leaders.
With the Chamber and the Downtown Business Association, we have a strong voice with the city on issues that are important to us.
For us, Mountain View means home and family.
In Mountain View, we bring 3D to life.
Welcome! 欢迎! Welcome!
Hoş geldiniz.
Mountain View'ma boleh padaria.
Welcome!
Willkommen.
Welcome!
Bienvenidos!
Candy's Barbershop, Mountain View ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ.
To Mountain View, a small town that shapes the world.
So one of the other things that the Chamber of Commerce does is we run the Visitor Center. And so we put together this video to really welcome people to Mountain View, and we'll be putting it on social media, on our website, et cetera, coming up. So one of the things that I'm always impressed about with Mountain View is how inclusive we are as a community, and I think this video speaks to that. So with that, let me close this part of the program and welcome to the stage our City Manager, Kimbra McCarthy.
I love that video. That was so wonderful. Thank you, Peter. Well, hello, everyone. Good morning. It's great to see you all here today. I'm your city manager, as Peter said, Kimbra McCarthy, and I'm so excited to be here with you all today. Before we begin, I think I need to give some thanks myself. So Brian Babcock, our Deputy Chief Communications Officer, really helped put all of this together. Can you hear me okay? I feel like this, can you hear me okay? It's good? Okay. And then Linka Wright, our Chief Communications Officer, and of course Peter Katz and your team. Thank you for just making this event so wonderful and for making it possible. So let's give them a round of applause. So as Peter said, the theme of today is the Mountain View of tomorrow. And I think that's really fitting because a lot of what we're working on right now is not only going to be impactful in the short term, but we really are planning for a lot of long-term projects, a lot of long-term initiatives, and things that are going to have an impact on our community, your businesses, your industries for a long time to come. So you'll hear more about what we've accomplished over this last year and some of those things that we have in store. I know we only have a set amount of time. I've been reminded about that from Peter. So we're just going to kind of scratch the surface today, but I hope you'll find it informative. So the first thing that I'd like to do is thank our City Council for their leadership and guidance in serving our community and really advancing all of these projects and priorities that you're going to hear about today. So again, I'd like to express my thanks and all of our thanks to Mayor Pat Showalter, who I'll be introducing soon, Vice Mayor Matichek, and all the council members, Margaret Abe-Koga, Allison Hicks, Ellen Kamei, Lucas Ramirez, and Emily Ann Ramos. And what I wanted to do before we kind of kicked off this whole presentation was talk a little bit about something that I spoke about briefly last year. Last year, I talked about how in Mountain View, we have a long-standing history of good governance and civility. And I think it really bears repeating right now this year why this is so important for all of you and for our community and our businesses. And I think we all know that frequently we see a lot of strife and chaos now at all levels of government. But what we have in Mountain View and what it means for you all is that even though there are different policy views and different ways of maneuvering through a lot of these issues, our council works together to get to a solution. We focus on the fundamentals of governance and moving these priorities forward. We have decorum. We have respect for each other. We have respect for the jobs that we perform, both council and all the staff that are here with me today. And we have respect for our community. And these fundamentals really help make Mountain View an exceptional city, an exceptional place to live, work, and play. So all of the folks that have been introduced that are in this room, all the other elected officials that have been introduced, we care about our community. We really all go above and beyond to serve our residents and businesses. And in the outset, I want to acknowledge that I know things aren't always easy, not just at the county or the city, but also at the county, our school boards, our Foothill De Anza, El Camino Healthcare. All of the elected officials really deal with some really hectic issues right now. And you can be assured that everything that we're working on and everything we're done is pretty extraordinary in Mountain View. So I hope you're proud that your city is regarded as a leader across the Bay Area in all of the industries that we serve. So that's what you're going to hear a little bit about more today. And with that, I'd like to introduce our Mayor, Pat Showalter, to kick us off at the podium. Thank you, Pat.
Well, hi, everyone. It's great to see this sea of faces. As Peter mentioned, it is kind of old home week for many of us. I certainly have been happy to get to see so many of you in person that we often see in little boxes nowadays. As Kimbra mentioned, you'll hear a lot about what we accomplished and what we're doing now. And the fact that really what we do today guides what happens tomorrow, just like what was done in the past guided what's happening now. The take-home message I want to give you is that Mountain View truly is a community for all. We run our city now to provide a good quality of life for everyone. That means whether you work here, whether you live here, whether you visit here. We're planning for a future where we continue to provide that high quality of life, even though we know that circumstances are changing. Next slide. As an environmental engineer, As an environmental engineer, I've been working on sustainability, resilience, and conservation for years. It's very important to me. We recognize that the urgency of our climate work, and we're committed to building a resilient Mountain View for the future. We've set goals. Mountain View has a carbon neutrality goal for 2045, and we are evaluating whether we can speed it up 10 years to 2035. But we don't want to set that goal unless we have a clear path forward. So that's really what we're working on right now, is figuring out that clear path. We've taken actions. We've developed a sustainability staff with the Chief Sustainability Officer. We've invested $7.5 million in our Sustainability Action Plan. We have dozens of projects to carry out the Sustainability Action Plan, like putting in lots of car chargers, electrifying city buildings, and encouraging plant-based eating. We help to found and participate in Silicon Valley Clean Energy, and that really remains the single most important decarbonization effort, because it means that every resident in Mountain View is using electricity from fossil-free sources. That's very important. Resiliency and collaboration. Mountain View is committed to building climate resilience and accelerating decarbonization. Just this year, we joined the Santa Clara County Climate Collaborative, It's a multi-sector network to advance regional solutions to climate change through resource and expert sharing, joint funding opportunities, partnership development, and Mountain View is part of the leadership advisory team and is also co-chairing the collaborative's flood and sea level rise working group. I wanted to mention this in particular because I think that we've all found over the years that you don't do very much on your own. You do it in partnership and in collaboration with a whole pancake stack of people, depending on what the issue is. And that's really what's going on with this climate collaborative. We also continue our collaboration. You see the picture on the left, our collaboration with the Coastal Conservancy to restore Pond A2 from an old salt pond to a marsh. You can see this work going on when you're walking along the Bay Trail in Shoreline Park, and this is a crucial component of our sea level rise protection program, which we are actively building. Okay, let's go into biodiversity. All right, the city is partnering with the San Francisco Estuary Institute, SFEI. That's kind of like the standard of the Good Housekeeping Seal of Approval in environmental research in the Bay Area. We've really gotten the best to help us with this biodiversity and urban forest plan. And implementing these plans will really improve the quality of life of our local wildlife and essentially also of the people who live here. The biodiversity strategy will be used to guide city projects, ordinances, regarding vegetation, wildlife, species, and we've had a tremendous amount of input from community organizations and from our residents to help with this. There's also an urban forestry plan, and it will replace our 2015 community tree master plan. It's really important to me to think about this urban forestry. I know when we all think about things that we can do to help the climate, almost on every list, under every subject, plant trees is part of it, right? It's always plant trees and. So that's why this urban forestry is very, very important, because we need to plant a lot more trees, and they need to be the right trees that will be happy here as the climate changes. So, we're committed to caring about our natural environment, and we also want to celebrate it. I hope that I'll see most of you, or a good portion of you, at our Arbor Day and Earth Day celebration. It's the first time we're combining them, and we'll plant a tree, of course, maybe more. Enjoy live music. There'll be some animal programs, have booths where you can learn about conservation efforts, showcase electric vehicles, eat plant-based foods, and so much more. Of course, this is the time to pull out your best t-shirt of the season for Earth Day. And so that should be a lot of fun. And as I've said, we're going to combine Earth Day and a Harbor Day because those two things work together so well. We've achieved a lot in the last year, and I'm going to share a few of those things we've achieved. I was just so blown away by this recognition. We received a grade A from the Climate Disclosure Project. That is a group that evaluates climate efforts all over the globe. And we were recognized as one of 119 cities worldwide to receive this score. Well, why did we receive this score? What were the reasons? First, our efforts in meeting our greenhouse gas emission goals by co-founding Silicon Valley Clean Energy. Second, we adopted local REACH codes that set building electrification and electric vehicle charging requirements in all of our new construction in Mountain View. And we check on how we're doing every year. We evaluate our GHG emissions. So we've come a long way. It's great to get a grade A, but we've got a lot more work to do. Another thing we did was to unveil an all-electric bookmobile. How many people remember going to the bookmobile when they were kids? Okay, yeah. Well, this bookmobile is really special. It's a little smaller than the old-fashioned ones, which means that it can maneuver some of the streets in Mountain View that it couldn't get to before and get to more places. And we also have to thank Google for contributing $100,000 to this. It turns out that these big buses really cost a fortune. So thank you to Google. And now the Bookmobile is on its new circuit, and it's going to schools, it's going to events, and it's going to places of work. So guess who has the most popular spot? Our biggest employer, Google. All right, another thing that was really fun this year was the ceremonial groundbreaking for the Magical Bridge playground that we're building in Ringsdorf Park. And I wanted to mention that this is really an indication of how we're working for a community for all, because these playgrounds are specifically designed to be good for people of all ages and abilities. It doesn't matter whether you're, an 80-year-old grandmother, or you're a toddler, or you have developmental issues. There are things on this playground that are designed for you to be able to enjoy. I understand this will be opened at the end of the year, so stay tuned for the ribbon cutting and then to come play in it. But so how does Mountain View signal its commitment to parks and open space? Well, we keep building new parks. I don't really think there's a better way to demonstrate your commitment than to actually do the job. This was the opening of the Fayette Park. It was last October, and it's Mountain View's 45th city park. I really think that's tremendous in a city of 12 square miles. And as many of you know, some of our parks are really very small. They're just designed to be a place of respite and play for the local neighborhood. And then there are other ones that are huge, like Shoreline. So that brings us to the next slide, which is about Shoreline. Just last October, the city hosted Celebrate Shoreline. And that was really the 40th birthday party for Shoreline Park. We invited the whole community, and a good proportion of the community, and then some, showed up to help us celebrate and learn about what is now the crown jewel of our park system. This is really a monument to city planning efforts and what our predecessors did in terms of being creative and innovative and walking the walk. In the 50s and 60s, this area was a dilapidated group of farms, car wrecking yards, and old-fashioned dump. But our community leaders had the forethought and creativity to develop a landfill and then a park on top of the closed landfill. We accepted garbage for 25 years from San Francisco to this landfill. The landfill was closed, and Shoreline Park was opened in 1983. So now, this 750-acre wildlife refuge and recreation area has really come a long way. It's the crown jewel in Mountain View's community. It's home to outdoor activities, including golf, biking, sailing, excellent habitat for a number of protected species, including burrowing owls and monarch butterflies. And as we restore the marshes adjacent to Shoreline Park, the habitat value and the beauty will grow. So all of these efforts move the city toward being a community for all. And thank you for listening. And I'd like to pass the microphone back to our city manager, Kimbra McCarthy.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for highlighting all those achievements. And I realize if you're someone like me who talks with your hand and you're holding a clicker, things could get hectic. So front row, Alex, you got me, okay? You got me if it flies off. All right, so let's talk about something that we all know is one of the biggest, most pressing issues, not only in Mountain View, but in our region. Let's talk about housing. The future of housing and more specifically, affordable housing. So one of the things that we created this past year, actually this is our first fiscal year, it's a brand new housing department. And this really was the knock-on effect of all of the housing policies and programs that we are going to be working on over these next 8 years as part of our housing element. So what you see on the left-hand side is just a snapshot of the housing element that we put forward, but we're really proud that we were one of the first cities across the state to receive state certification of our housing element. This was last May. And for those of you that don't know what a housing element is, this is a state required document that is required across the state in every city as part of our general plan. So every housing element happens 8 years, and it really is intended to guide every city or jurisdiction on housing production, housing preservation, and housing protection. So the 3 Ps is what it's called. So as part of this process, Mountain View was required to plan for at least 11,135 new housing units. So getting this state certification of our housing element was a real accomplishment, and it was really 2 years of work between Mountain View staff and a lot of community members, community groups that really made this possible. So what's in the housing element? It's a lot of programs that support our affordable housing development. Just this past Tuesday, we talked about kind of a first start to our acquisition and preservation of units, which could include a new community land trust. You're going to be hearing a lot more about that over the next year or two. Tenant protections, fair housing, homelessness prevention, emergency shelters, and a lot more. So this really is a robust plan for Mountain View to move us forward over the next 8 years and beyond. In terms of our housing element, there are already 22 projects alone that our new housing department is working on. Again, this is a new department as of July 1st, just this past fiscal year. So building upon that, I also want to mention that the city received the prestigious pro-housing designation from Governor Newsom. We were one of only 37 jurisdictions across the state to achieve this. We are the first jurisdiction or city in Santa Clara County to achieve this designation. This was a real high bar to achieve, and so what it means in being a pro-housing city is that Mountain View can apply for a number of grants and a number of funding opportunities that other cities and jurisdictions can't. It basically puts us at the front of the line for helping get additional funding from the state for our housing program. So it's a real testament to what we're doing to achieve this designation. So the reason why we've achieved this pro-housing designation is really because we've proved through our actions that we're dedicated to not only building affordable housing, but also working on all the policies and programs that go along with affordable housing. So what you see here are 4 projects, just a few projects in Mountain View that we have in our affordable housing pipeline. Right now, there are 12 affordable housing projects, and we have about 1,300 units in the pipeline. And I'm sure you can all imagine that it is very expensive for each housing unit. If you can imagine this, depending on the land and the location, it's up to and over $1 million per unit. And that's market rate or affordable housing. So we have a lot of work to do to identify funding to help really supplement this pipeline of 12 projects. I want to give thanks to the county. We entered into an agreement last year where we are going to receive $80 million from the county as part of our Measure A funds. If all of you remember about Measure A and voting for Measure A, which was to provide funding for all countywide for cities for their affordable housing. So we have a lot of resources and help from the county, and we definitely receive help from the state, but we need a lot more. So one of the things that I wanted to mention to you all, if you're not aware of this, is that there is a potential regional bond measure that could be coming up in the November election from the Bay Area Housing Finance Authority, and their goal is to raise around $20 billion, $20 billion with a B, to really help jurisdictions across our region in affordable housing production. So we're really going to be watching that closely. Some of you may have even received a poll about that. I know I have. The next thing that I want to talk about is what Mountain View is doing to serve our most vulnerable residents. So along with affordable housing, we're really committed to making a dent in our residents and people that are either suffering from homelessness or who may be unstably housed. We have a lot of individuals, not just in Mountain View, but you all are aware in the greater area, who live in their vehicles. So this is really a space where we're really trying to help those most in need. So what you see here is progress on a lot of the initiatives that we're working on. So we recently celebrated the 1-year anniversary, that's the top picture you see, of Elevate MV. And this is our basic income pilot program. And I have to say that we could not have done this without the strong partnership from the Community Services Agency. And this 2-year program provides 166 individuals who have families. One of the requirements was that these individuals must have at least one child under the age of 18. So 166 residents with unrestricted payments of $500 per month over that 2-year period. So we've already heard some great feedback from a lot of the participants. One of them, a mother who was working 3 jobs, just this $500 a month extra was able to help her drop one of those 3 jobs, so now she only has 2 jobs that she's working. Others, they use it towards basic necessities, food, car payments, rent. Some have been able to purchase presents for their children during the holidays that they weren't able to do so before. So we really are proud of this program, and one of the great things about it is we're partnering with the University of Pennsylvania, also Stanford University's Basic Income Lab, to gather that data and really discover how people are actually spending, what it's doing to help lift them out of poverty, and what the economic effect of that is in the city of Mountain View. So this is really a program that we're still starting to learn. We still have another year to go, but we're very proud that we celebrated that 1-year anniversary. The other pictures you see, at least on the right-hand side, are part of our safe parking lots. And in the middle, you see the hygiene stations that are at the safe parking lots. So Mountain View, up to, I believe it was a couple years ago, was the largest safe parking lot provider with the number of spaces in the entire Bay Area. So if you think about that, the size of our city being around 86,000 people, that we had the most number of spaces in the entire Bay Area. And at that time, we had more than San Francisco or Oakland. There was around 100 spaces. Now we have about 120 spaces. There's around 4 to 5 lots. We are still the largest safe parking lot provider in Santa Clara County, but I think we've been eclipsed by a couple of those bigger cities by now, as we should be. So thank you. Yes, I think that is definitely something to clap for. So, you know, we've worked really hard to build this up in a couple years prior to COVID, but it really has just ramped up during COVID. And then, of course, now, just really trying to be a leader in the region, working with a lot of cities around us to share our experience with them, to help them figure out how they might be able to bring this to their cities. So, as you all know, this is a regional issue. This cannot be Mountain View's problem to solve alone. This is something that we all have to collectively really get involved in and put our heads together and figure out how all cities can help us move the needle. And then on the left side, what you see is a picture of units from our Life Moves Mountain View site. I talked a little bit about this last year, but our Life Moves Mountain View site is an interim housing community. There's 100 units of supportive housing that are offered and wraparound services to families, single adults, individuals, to really help give them a short stay and then ultimately get them into more permanent housing. All of this could not be possible without all of the partners that we work with. So I'm not going to read out everyone. I hope we didn't miss anyone, but you can just see the sheer amount of work and care and concern and compassion that all of these entities have in Mountain View to help make all of these programs and policies I just talked about possible. The city cannot do this alone. And I think this is kind of a hallmark of what you're hearing, what makes Mountain View so exceptional and so special and such a leader is because of all of you. And because we believe that collaboration and partnership really is the way to go. So I want to thank all of you who've had a hand in all of these programs that we've talked about and even those that we don't have time to talk about. So the next thing I want to talk about, I know that probably many or most of you are very, very curious about and really want to hear about today, and that's development in Mountain View and what's happening in our downtown. The first thing I want to talk about in terms of development in Mountain View is the Google master plans that have been adopted. Last year, when we were here, the city had not yet formally adopted Google's North Bayshore master plan, but I am very proud to report that last June, the city adopted the largest development project in Mountain View's history. The largest project in the history of our city, with the Google North Bayshore Master Plan. So this plan includes a mixed-use neighborhood in the North Bayshore area, and it includes 7,000 residential housing units, 3 million square feet of office, about 26 acres of public parks and open space, an elementary school site, retail uses, community facilities, new streets, bicycle and pet improvements, and so much more. So ultimately, this is going to be over a 30-year time frame, so it's not going to happen immediately, but this really will change how Mountain View looks tomorrow. And so we're really proud that master plan has been put forward. This is also in conjunction with, on the left-hand side, the Google Middlefield Park Master Plan, which had been previously approved. And that project around our East Wisman area in Mountain View has about 1,900 housing units in it. So with these two projects alone, there's a lot of housing units, a lot of creativity, and many, many, many years of hard work between our staff, the community, and Google. So really appreciate that. Another thing that you're going to probably start hearing about a lot more is what we're going to be doing with our grade separation projects. So for those of you that drive either crossing Castro onto Ringsdorf, Central onto Ringsdorf, or now what used to be a thoroughfare on Castro Street from Central, it's now closed, what we're going to do with those grade crossings. Well, we have partnered with the VTA and Caltrain on the design of both of these grade separation projects, and really the intent is to improve safety, reduce noise, improve the experience for our peds and our bicycles, and help the flow of traffic be much, much better than it is now. So I'm going to focus more on the Ringsdorf project. It's this large picture on the right-hand side, because that project is actually moving forward first. And the Ringsdorf project is going to lower the intersection. So you're looking at this, the right-hand side here would be where our community center is, where the new aquatic center is, and this is going underneath to Central. So you're headed towards Central, headed north. So that intersection is going to be lowered. We're also going to maintain that railway. You can see it at its existing elevation, so that's not going to change. But there will be a pedestrian and cyclist bridge. So this is a big project for the city. It has increased by millions and millions of dollars than what we originally thought it would be just 6 months ago. These two projects alone, we had about a $200 million funding gap as of a few months ago. So it's why we had to prioritize the timing of the projects. So Ringsdorf is going to be moving forth first. Now the Castro project, which is on the left-hand side, is also well underway, and it's going to include construction of an undercrossing for pedestrians and cyclists, as well as 2 additional ped and cyclist undercrossings under Central Expressway. So we're really excited to be moving. Construction on Ringsdorf should begin in 2026, and then Castro Street will move forward when we have more funding identified. So let's talk about downtown now and what's happening downtown. Our downtown is one of the city's top priority areas, and I want to say that we know that downtown does not look like the way that we want it to yet. It has definitely been a wet and cold winter. Outdoor dining has been removed, the old outdoor dining has been removed, and we know that there are vacancies and storefront issues. And we have a plan and are doing a lot of work to tackle that. So that's what I want to talk to you about in a little bit. So the 4 focus areas that I want to highlight for the work that we're doing in downtown are, first, to create a thriving business environment. Second, a welcoming space. Third, opportunities for social engagement. And fourth, an area where people can feel safe. Everyone is down there. So one of the things that we're really working on now is working with our businesses to establish these outdoor patio areas that you've all seen. So currently there are 27 businesses that have outdoor areas, and there are many more that are coming online soon. The beautification efforts like the hanging flower boxes, the social zones that you've seen with games, music, new furniture, all of that's going to be installed as this rain, which I think is supposed to start today, kind of starts to go away. I think we have it this weekend and maybe even next weekend. We're going to have more lighting. We're going to have artistic decorative street treatment coming up. One thing that I want to talk about and address, just because I think it's important for everyone to know, is you know that there's vacancies. We have a 20% vacancy rate in Mountain View, and we're seeing this across the region and all the cities around us. COVID really has changed the way that people shop, the way that retail works, and the way that office space is utilized. So one of our big focus areas is addressing the ground floor vacancies. And some of these have been vacant for many, many years, like well before COVID. And what we're really trying to do now is be very strategic and thoughtful about how we're going to not only leverage the ped mall that we have there, the pedestrian mall, since we've closed those 3 blocks, but how we can really help the business community to make this area thrive. So we're going to be hiring or working with a retail strategy firm, a marketing and branding team, wayfinding, new signage, and a lot of other artistic improvements, including at the intersections. So all that's going to change. But what I would like to ask you all is that we're going to need your partnership on these efforts. We can't do this alone. And the more that we can hear from the community, our downtown committee, everyone that's involved, we really would like to have people involved in this and have kind of skin in the game, because we can't do all this alone. The public sector can't do all this alone. So one of the ways that people are going to be able to engage with us, we've created a brand new website just for downtown Mountain View, MountainView.gov/downtown. And I'm really excited to let everyone know that we just launched a very first edition of what we're calling the Downtown Digest. So we're going to be giving a monthly update to the community, to the public, to our city council on everything that we're working on and everything that we're doing downtown. So you can go to this website, MountainView.gov/downtown. Now I'm just realizing we should have had a QR code, so maybe we'll get a QR code. But you can see if you go to this website on the left-hand side, Downtown Digest is highlighted, and you can click on that and it will give you our first issue. It's pretty meaty, it's about 9 pages, but we realized that we probably needed to do a better job in letting everyone know all the work that's happening. Sometimes we take for granted as a city, there's so much work happening, there's so much going on behind the scenes, but we need to make sure that you all are aware of what's happening and the time that it's going to take to do all these things. So the Downtown Digest is really meant to be that guide for everyone to understand the timing, the projects, what's happening, and what we're working on. So I would encourage all of you to go to that website and check out the first issue. You can also sign up for email notifications about things that are happening and going on. So I would encourage you to do that too. So part of economic vitality in general is also part of this whole goal that we have around not just downtown, but the city in general, citywide. So one of the things that we are working on, though, specific to downtown, is updating our downtown precise plan. So the last update was done many years ago. Small updates have been done, but it was adopted in 1988 when things looked a lot different than how they are now. So we're going to be working on an update to this precise plan, and some of you may be very excited to know that it's going to include many zoning changes, many code updates, changing objective development and design standards, looking at parking, signage regulations, and all of that. And in conjunction with that, what you see on the bottom left-hand corner, we're also going to be embarking upon the Moffett Boulevard Precise Plan. So ultimately, the vision is that Moffett Boulevard, especially once the grade separation project happens, it really is intended to be a connection to our downtown. And the vision for that is making sure that it's a kind of a refreshed corridor for these retail uses and housing, and it's really a gateway into the city's downtown. So that's our next big precise plan that staff will be working on. And then beyond the downtown area, we're currently working on an economic vitality strategy. I've seen the draft of this. I think there's about 90 maybe strategies. More, Dawn, you're correcting me. What is it? Sorry, 150 strategies that are really focused on city-wide enhancements. So beyond just downtown, how we really want to bolster the vitality of all of our businesses, all of the areas and village areas where we have shopping centers and shopping areas and retail and restaurants. So this strategy is really intended to be a holistic view of all of the things that we need to work on now and over the next 10-year horizon. So we're really excited about that. We're going to be bringing that to council hopefully this spring. We do have a pretty robust outreach process that we've been working on, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to bring that report to council this spring, and of course we'll make it public. I also want to highlight the small business support that we're working on right now. So in the immediate future, we have several projects in the works to help our small businesses. We are preparing a window display grant program, and this is going to provide $2,500 for visual merchandisers that are going to help our businesses with their window displays. They will provide consultations, design, installation, and just kind of development of strategy for what your windowscape might look like. On top of that, we'll be launching a facade improvement program for storefront businesses with grants up to $15,000. And we're also working on, with a retail consultant, different strategies to where we might be thinking bigger and bolder downtown, especially in the areas that have been closed. So what else is in store in Mountain View? There's a lot of things that are coming up over the next few months. One of the really exciting things is that we're going to be opening our brand new aquatic center later this spring, early summer. I just had a tour of it yesterday. It's absolutely incredible. It has a 25 meter by 25 yard fast water pool, lap lanes, a beach pool, diving boards, a really fun slide for kids, a community room, and a lot more. So we really see this whole area being a hub of entertainment and fun, really, for families. So there'll be the aquatic center there, the Magical Bridge playground there, which you heard about from our mayor, and the community center. All of that is in the same area. So we're really excited that this will be opening soon. And I also want to point out, this is another first for Mountain View. The building utilizes the latest in green building technology, which has an all-electric system of solar panels that heat the nearly 500,000 gallons of water. This is the first of its kind project. And staff was telling me, yes, we hope. We're really hoping on opening day that the water is hot. So being the first of its kind is good, but also you're kind of taking some chances. So, but we are very proud of that. It's another first for Mountain View. So as you've heard, enhancing our parks and recreation is a huge part of what makes us a great city. As the mayor said, one of the hallmarks of what we do in Mountain View is add new parks. So we're going to be adding at least 7 new parks, 1 to 2 opening over the next few years. We're also developing this Imagine MV Parks as part of our Parks and Rec strategic plan. That's happening right now, and it really is intended to guide the future of our parks and open space. And pickleball, how many of you all play pickleball? Are there a lot of players in the room? We hear from a lot of enthusiastic pickleball players, and it is not just Mountain View. I talk to other city managers. It's happening everywhere. So we have a pickleball study in the works for those of you that play pickleball. It's going to look at the potential court locations and amenities and everything that we need to do to bring dedicated pickleball courts, not to conflict with those tennis players in the room, dedicated pickleball courts. So that's also underway right now. In terms of our transportation, we're working on our active transportation plan, and this really is helpful to provide a roadmap of all of the projects and policies to support people that walk or roll or cycle. And in conjunction with this work is our Vision Zero plan and our local road safety plan. And these plans together are really focused on eliminating traffic fatalities and improving safety for everyone who is either, like I said, biking, rolling, walking, and just really making sure that it is a safer environment for folks in Mountain View. The other thing that we're really focused on right now is figuring out what we need to do to raise revenue for all of these fantastic things that I've talked about and many more that we didn't have time to talk about today. So many of these large, very ambitious projects require more funding than what the city has currently available. So everything from building these new parks, really improving some of our city facilities that are old and aging, launching these ambitious carbon neutrality plans that the mayor highlighted. These are all a high level of service that the community expects and deserves. And we need to make sure that we can pay for these things. So we're currently surveying a sample of voters about a potential revenue measure this November. This is not something that Mountain View does often, but is definitely necessary so that we can fulfill this vision for the Mountain View of tomorrow. So one thing that I just kind of wanted to scratch the surface on and point out, because I know a lot of you in your industries and your businesses, this AI is your focus. And you may be wondering, or may not, now that I'm bringing it up, you're going to wonder about it, how AI affects government, and specifically how AI is going to affect local government. And I don't have any answers for you today. This is something probably like many of you that we're really just starting to kind of wrap our arms around, trying to understand all of the systems that we use, the processes we have in place, how we need to do business differently, how it's actually going to impact how we serve all of you and our community members. So one of the things that I've read recently is government is going to have to figure out the promise and the peril of AI, and how that relates to community members and businesses. So right now, the city is involved in what's called the Gov AI Coalition, and this is a group of about 150 local, county, and state governments to really promote purposeful and responsible AI in the public sector. So that's something that we've just joined, and we'll be starting to work with that group and learn from. We're also paying attention to all of the AI legislation that's moving through Sacramento and through Washington, D.C. A lot of it, I know, impacts the private sector, but some of it also will greatly impact the public sector. So we're really watching that too, and we're also developing an AI appropriate use policy. Now, what all this means is that the systems that we have and the way we interact with our customers in future years will likely change. And we're just now starting out and embarking upon this journey to figure out what that really means. I was telling some folks that, some of my colleagues the other day, that I feel like we're at the start of when email came. And I told this story, I'm probably aging myself too, but in college, I remember I had a friend who, she worked in the computer center, and she was like, I have something really cool for you all. It's this thing called electronic mail. And you're gonna be able to go to your computer and send us a message, and I have all of your electronic mail addresses. And they were super long, and we were like, what are you talking about? Like, and Heidi is so weird, you know, like what is even, like, we passed notes, we talked, we didn't even have cell phones then. And sure enough, it was just a few months later when it was, you know, everyone's using email, and we're starting to do our schoolwork that way and communicate with each other and teachers. And so how fast that took off and how fast that became part of what we do, that's how I feel like AI is going to be even in local government. So I anticipate in future years standing in front of you and talking about this in a different manner, but I wanted to at least acknowledge it because I know that it's something that all of you are talking about too in your line of work. I want to leave you with, before we close out, a way to interact in another new way with the city and share our new community engagement website. It's called Collaborate Mountain View. So it's really meant to be a one-stop shop for people to give information or get information about surveys. We have timelines for a project, give feedback. We also have fun things like photo contests, giving your feedback on that. And it's really a way that you all will be able to go to a specific project, click on it, and find a lot of information about that project instead of having to click through various parts of the website or email staff. So we've just launched this. There's not tons of projects on it yet, but over the next few months and of course over the next few years, we anticipate that this site will be really used a lot by our community. So with that, I want to thank you for joining us today for the 2024 annual update. Appreciate everything that you all contribute to make our community great, and thank you. Let's work together to build the Mountain View of tomorrow. Appreciate it.
Wow. I always love this event because at the end I just say, this is the most incredible place to be. And I hope you all feel that way as well. I want to thank our city manager, I want to thank our mayor, and I want to thank all of you in the room here for all that you do. We have a lot to be proud of today with great plans underway to recognize our vision. Thanks to everyone here. Now let's go out and make this place amazing again.